Hey, brothers and sisters. As some of you may have noticed, I have changed over my intro. I was having problems from YouTube flagging things, saying that there was copyright issues. I provided them all of the necessary documentation to prove that everything was fine, but they're a big company that's run very poorly in a lot of ways. So until things get cleared up, we're just going to intro my videos with some cool artwork done by me. One Piece, Chapter 39. For whom the bell tolls. Oh, jeez, there you are. Oh, hello, brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on just the exciting action-packed tale of One Piece. I was actually just finishing up the chapter there. In the last one, it was pretty action-packed and kind of left us hanging. Jango is, has closed in on Pepper, Onion, Carrot, and Miss Kaya. Things are not looking great for them. Back at the beach, Captain Kuro has pulled out his cat out of the bag maneuver, and is killing his own crew. I mean, just slicing and dicing. He's just a whirlwind, a tornado, a maelstrom, if you will. Nobody can even see it. It's just a flash of claws, and people are getting cut up. That's how we start out in this chapter, and boy, they're good. They really are. They're good at this point. They're moving good. I'm sure after a few more, when things kind of settle down and the dust settles, there'll be a couple of kind of story-driven development chapters. But these last 4, 5, 6, I don't even know how many now, have been real like edge of your seat. Like going to a big summer blockbuster. It starts out and Luffy and Kuro are fighting. Kuro is basically like, hey, listen, it doesn't matter that you broke one of my claws, you little shit. I'm still, going to take you out. He obviously went into that maneuver that I was telling you about at the end of the last chapter. So this one starts out and he's just a flurry, just destroying guys, running through them. And Luffy's just like yelling, "Show yourself, butler! Show yourself!" So Kuro winds up going and nailing him, and you just see Luffy in a couple of panels of, and there's blood coming, and you're thinking this is not good, right? And in the next panel, you go and you see a hand grabbing a piece of a tuft of clothing or whatever, and then in the next panel, it's a splash page, right? And it's just wham! I mean, Luffy had grabbed Clahador, Kuro, whatever you want to call this numbnuts at this point, had grabbed him in mid stride, spinning, whatever, and just fucking buggy whipped him into the ground, right? And just smashes him down, and had basically pulled him out of his maneuver and just timed it right, even though he took some damage. But so in the next panel, we're kind of treated to this cool side shot of Captain Kuro just hunched over, and he's got his claws out, and he's just like, "Why won't you just die?" And Luffy basically goes into it and tells him that, "Listen, you son of a bitch, I'm never gonna be like you. Okay, I'm gonna be a great pirate first of all, and I'll never sink to your depths type of thing. Killing your own crew and just being an all-around scumbag shitheel, right?" So Kuro is just like, "Of course you'll never be like me because I'm going to kill you." It then goes and flashes to the forest where Kaya has been on the run with Onion, Pepper, and Carrot, and those three have basically been getting their ass kicked now. They were able to surprise Jango, hit him with some pepper in the eyes, and beat him up a little bit, and then run. But they were, they're small, and he's just stronger than them. So this starts out with him just pummeling them, and beating the shit out of him, and he's gonna kill him. I mean, they're taking a beating. They're gonna kill him. And Kaya says, wait, listen, if don't hurt them anymore. If you spare their lives, I will freely sign the will. You don't even have to hypnotize me. I'll write and sign the will. So Jango says, he slams one of them into it, knocks him unconscious, and he says, you're not in any position to make any deals. My orders are to kill him. I'll do what I want, and that sort of attitude. Kaya then goes and grabs one of his, blades that had maybe been stuck in a tree or hit the ground from when he was cutting down trees to find them. Grabs one of his circular blades and she puts it up to her throat and she says, "Guess what? If you don't let them live, I'll take my own life, and then the captain will really fuck you up because you will not have gotten a will, he won't have any money, and I'll be dead." And so he goes, whoa, don't be hasty now, don't be hasty. We can work this out. You know what? They're of no consequence anyway. I promise, I'll leave them be as long as you sign the will. So in the next scene or page, it shows her with a piece of paper over a tree stump, and she's writing out the will. She hands it to him, and and he reads it, and it says, I, Kaya, leave my fortune to my faithful butler, Clahador, and sign, and you got to sign it in blood, he says, and everything else. So that's all done, and he says, okay, well, you realize that I have to kill you now, though. I mean, that's the whole idea of the will to be enacted, is I have to kill you. So she says, I understand, but you promised, you gave me your word that you would leave them alone, the minions, Onion, Pepper, and Carrot, Usopp's pirates. And he says, you know what, I may be a pirate, I may be a this, I may be a that, but I am a man of my word. I promised, and I will not do anything to them. So he's going to go and raise up and nail her. He's gonna kill her, obviously. And so this whole scene that's happening, you kind of depict it. It goes and then flashes to the next panel, and we've got Usopp over Zoro's shoulder. He's been running through the forest with him, and they finally get a line of sight on him, but they're still probably 100 feet away, And basically, Usopp says, there they are, he's about to kill her, just drop me, and Zoro says, gladly, and he tosses him on the ground, like a sack of potatoes, man. And he's running, and Zoro's talking to himself, and he's going, I can't get to him in time, I can't get to him in time. So then it goes back to, to Jango, and right as he's about to come down on Kaya, Pepper, Onion, and Carrot, they just pretended like they were knocked unconscious or like they were out. They were basically just laying there, letting things play out for a couple minutes. They get up and frickin' Usopp's pirates to the rescue, and they're on him, they're hammering his shit, they pull him back, What it does is it buys enough time ultimately to do what needs to be done, and that's give enough time for Zoro or Usopp or whatever to get to him. So then it flashes back to Zoro, and Zoro is like, oh yeah, and Jango says, no matter, you're gonna be one step late, Sash Man, because he's gonna come back at her, and Zoro says, no, I'm not, and he takes one of his swords and he cuts down this branch, and I'm thinking, oh great, he's gonna cut down a tree and have it fall on this dick, right? Old Dick Lips Jango over here, and so what that did, though, was that wound up freeing up a line of sight for Usopp, who's wounded and bleeding. But you got to remember, he's a sharp shot with that slingshot, right? So he goes and he pulls back, and you're like, oh man, he's gonna nail him. And then all of a sudden, boom! It goes back to the beach over there and shows Luffy and Captain Kuro. God, forget my names here. Tangling and tussling and beating the hell out of each other. Luffy has jumped up and put his arms around Kuro and his legs, and he's holding on to him and just kind of hitting him. Kuro can't do anything. Kuro's crew is basically like, because now half these guys that are still alive, they're wounded. He was cutting them up, and they're like, hey, the rubber man's, taking out Captain Kuro. If he kills him, does that mean that, we get to live? We're not going to get beat up on or killed anymore? And they're, yeah, so they start rooting for Luffy. Luffy goes, and while he's holding on to him and he gets nailed by Kuro, his head goes and stretches way back, and he's like, hey! He's like, I'll take care of you guys later. I didn't tell you could root for me. So he goes, and his head is reared back or whatever, and in one double splash page, it goes back to, and here, it's actually a really cool page, so I will hold it up here for you all to see. I'm sure many of you have seen it, but really cool how it was drawn. It goes, on the first one, it goes, here it goes, secret technique, exploding stars, and that's what Usopp was doing. He was firing these exploding stars from that. He's got that line of sight on Jango now. He's got to save Kaya. And right as that happens, and you just see this big explosion, you picture, oh, Jango is fucked, right? It then goes back and shows in the next splash page, that, Luffy, when his head reared back or got hit back like that, he went, Gomu, Gomu, and he just comes back down like an anvil and just goes, bell, and I'm just taking it as like he's ringing his bell, man, and he just nails him, So Captain Kuro is done. He's out. He's down for the count, and it looks like he's done. I mean, Luffy has said, your plan is going to fail, and even Kuro's like, my plan, my precious plan. So that's how it ends for this chapter. And I'm eagerly going to, as soon as I'm done here and wrap up, I'm going to press stop, and I'm going to read and then record the next one. So let me know what you think, brothers and sisters, in the comments down below. Apologize if I'm getting too excited over here, but I'm really getting into it. It's a lot of fun, and I mean, can you blame me? If there's a reason that this tale has gone on for 15 plus years, it's magnificent. Throw me a like if you think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. So we will catch you in the next one. As always, thank you for watching, brothers and sisters. Be sure to subscribe and take a look at some of my other videos. Thanks. See you next time, Nation.